going on, Crunchy here, and welcome back to another video. So today I thought I'd bring you an updated bank video, as I haven't done this in such a long time. I think the only time I did this was maybe a few months ago, so apart from then I've never really done one of these, and I thought maybe I'd give you guys an update on pretty much how my bank's looking, my main items, loot tabs, stuff like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so looking into the first tab here, the general tab, I've made this into my bossing loot tab. So this is where all the loot from the bossing I'm doing for my new bossing series. If you haven't already checked it out, feel free to go ahead and look at it. But yeah, that's where all the loot from that series are going to be going. So far I've got quite a nice, bunch of items here. Of course there are runes, stuff like that, which would have been mixed in with the other ones, but this is the main sort of loot, and we've got quite a nice, bunch of stuff in here so far. So these items here are the only things which aren't part of the bossing drops, but I just thought I'd leave them there because they're quite useful and I'll probably use them at some point, and it saves me having to try and find them. So yeah, that's where I just leave those, and the rest of this tab, as I told you guys, is just my bossing loot. So moving on, this is the general loot tab where I put all my charms, just pretty much any loot that I get from PVM, stuff like that, goes into this tab here. So obviously, like I told you guys, we've got my bossing one, but this is my general loot tab. I didn't really want to get rid of it. I was going to sell it all, keep the money for it, and just pretty much start fresh for the bossing series. But looking at the loot here, I've collected quite a lot and I don't really want to get rid of it. I've got some, pretty cool pieces in here, so I don't really want to get rid of it because I quite like the look of having all the items just collected over time through PVM. So I'm going to keep this one for quite a long time. The main sort of things in here, as you can tell, are just the charms. I've got quite a nice stack of them, almost 4k crimson, which is quite nice. Nearly 2k gold, considering I went down to nearly about 100 when I was doing my summoning. That's not too bad. So a nice collection of those there. We've got an effigy, like I told you guys, just the general sort of loot you'd expect. Got a couple of shards down here, key pieces, stuff like that, runite limbs, just the general stuff. In total, this loot tab, last time I checked, was worth around 8 mil, something like that, so it's nothing crazy. But it's better than nothing. I just like having items. Like I told you guys, I just like seeing the items there, how much you've collected over time through PVM. So yeah, that is this tab here. Alright, so moving on, this is my main sort of value tab where I keep all my armor, my money, my skill capes, auras, the things which I find important when I go PVMing, stuff like that. This is what's kept in this tab here, and anything which I find is specifically valuable to me, that goes in this tab here. So let's just do a brief off. Obviously you can tell what's in here just by looking at it, but 31 million coins. I do have a bit more in my money pouch down here, but that is for my bossing series, so I'm not touching that right now until I noted it down. Got my fire making cape, attack cape, range cape, and HP. They're the only 4 I have right now, but soon hopefully I will have some more. Got my auras along here, Jack of Trades, Vampirism. I do have the Supreme Jack of Trades, by the way, just in case you didn't know, just obviously get me a bit more XP. I've got my 5-year veteran cape in November. I think it's my 10-year coming up, so yeah, that'll be coming in here pretty soon as well. And like I told you guys, you probably do know all this stuff is, but obviously got my Darrocks, we have my Guthans, Armadale, Ganodermic, Bandos, stuff like that. I actually have the lucky Bandos chestplate, not the normal one, so I sold that and obviously got a bit of money from that, which was quite nice at the time. The newest addition to this tab is my Ragefire boots. Obviously I have my Steadfast boots, I'm in love with them, they're like my favourite boots, but now I have the Ragefire for when I do my mage attacks, give me a bit more of a boost, so yeah, I'm using those. They're the newest addition, so quite happy with them. In terms of my magic setup, I know you guys have heard me to use a staff instead of jewel, but in case I do dual wield, I use the Abyssal Orb and the Abyssal Wand for my level at the moment. If I get a higher magic, I'll probably use a different one, or I probably won't have to because obviously I'll have better abilities. But yeah, they're the main weapons I use if I'm dueling for magic. If not, I use the Staff of Light. I did have a Polypore staff, but I sold it because I tend to use the Staff of Light more. So yeah, I just sold it, but at some point I probably will end up buying it back. The runic staff's in here as well because I spent quite a long time trying to get that. Actually made a video on it at some point as well, so I just thought I'd put that in there because it's quite cool. So yeah, I just thought I'd chuck it in there. Down here we have my Drygor rapiers. Obviously I have those, as you guys would have seen in the video. Apart from that, the rest of the stuff is just pretty much what I'd use on the side. Obviously I've got my range weapons for right now. I've got Zamorak Stole, got some Zamorak arrows just for when I go bossing so I don't get attacked, stuff like that. Amulet of Fury, I've got my Saradomin's Murmur. So yeah, that is pretty much that tab, just the things which I find quite important to myself, the things I use quite a lot, and I just thought I'd chuck them in the same place. It looks quite cool, I've organised it as best as I can, so yeah, that is that tab. Next up, we have my potions tab. The best one I have in here is my perfect Juju prayer potion, which I used when I was obviously training prayer. Save that in there just whenever I do it again. I've got some of these down here just for when obviously doing my herb lore training. Made quite a lot of those so far. Shame you can't actually sell them, that kind of sucks. I've tried to organise this as much as possible. It doesn't really look the best, I know that. Haven't really got that much stuff in here, but here's all my like super restore flasks, stuff like that. I got my anti-poisons next to my super anti-poisons, sourdoming brews, just stuff like that pretty much. It's pretty self-explanatory, just all of my super ranging, magic, attack, all those type of things which I need for whenever I go PVMing. That's pretty much just what this tab is for, and of course, like I said, the herb lore training. Next up, we have the runes, seeds, and pouches tab. It does have a few of these like giant pouches, stuff like that in here for when I go rune crafting. It has all my runes, as you can tell there. Not that many of them, but I did sell quite a few of them to make some of my money, which I have, which I showed you guys a minute ago. That's how I made quite a lot of my money. I had a lot of runes stacked up in here, which were worth quite a lot, to be honest. I was actually quite surprised. So yeah, I got quite a lot of those. I have a lot of home teleports. Then we have all my seeds. Obviously, they're not really that important to me right now because farming isn't a skill that I really enjoy. I don't really train it. All the levels I've got in farming, as you can see, it's on level 49. All the levels in that have been through the butterflies a few months ago and through XP lamps, so I've never actually done farming. So these one day will be in use, but for right now they're just staying in here so I know where they are. And like I told you guys, the pouches, these are the only ones I have right now because again I did sell quite a lot of them to make some of my money. Obviously my war tortoise pouches are the ones which I use for my beast of burden, so they're in here as well. It's just a tab which is generally used quite a lot. If I'm going obviously to train magic, I'll need some runes. If I'm going to train something else, you know, I'll always take a beast of burden with me, so I just have them all in the same place just so it saves me flicking around from tab to tab. And yeah, that's pretty much what's in this one. Alright, so next up is the food tab. This is obviously again quite self-explanatory, just where I keep all my food. Nothing really special, to be honest. It's just the main food I use is like shark and lobsters, so that's pretty much it. I do use rocktails, but I can't cook them at the moment, so I'm keeping them in there. I've just got some raw ones which I got from the treasure hunter, I think, so I'm just going to keep them in there so I can obviously use them for a bit of free XP when I can actually cook them. So they're in there for that reason. Obviously then again I can eat them after, save me a bit of money, stuff like that. Have some raw monkfish which I use occasionally, not really very often, but most of the ones I do have like a raw version and a normal version of, as you can tell here. Obviously up here again, just save them in there because it means that I can get some free XP. Most of these ones from here have been noted from drops, from treasure hunter, stuff like that, so it's quite nice just to have them in there, so if I need some more I can easily just cook them up if I actually have the level for it. Alright, so this here is my skilling tab. It's nothing special, pretty much self-explanatory, just a bunch of skilling items. I got quite a lot of protein stuff, which is quite awesome. This one isn't organised at all, as you can tell, because normally if I'm trying to find something, it takes me forever to actually look through everything, so I end up just searching it and finding it that way. But you know, I've got some divination stuff in here. I've got a bunch of keys, which I didn't really know where to put anywhere else, so I put them in this tab here. Got some staffs, which I don't really use, so I thought I might as well put them in this tab here, because eventually, maybe one day I'll use them. But yeah, there's not really much else to cover in this tab. It's pretty much just full of items got from skilling and for skilling, and that's pretty much it. And finally, moving on to the last tab now. This is just full of a bunch of outfits, junk, stuff like that. I've got quite a few things in here which I have actually done the spring cleaner and they just haven't gone, so this is just the stuff that I can't really get rid of unless I do a junk sale or drop it, stuff like that. So yeah, I decided to just junk it at the end of the bank tabs and pretty much just store it all in there. So anything I don't really use, I'm just going to put in here from now on. There's nothing else I can really say about this tab. It's just full of junk and haven't organised it at all. I'm not really ever going to, I don't plan on it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this tab. But there we go guys, that is my new May 2015 bank video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. I know it's not the best bank setup, it's not the cleanest or, you know, packed with the most valuable stuff, but that's what I have right now. That is currently how my bank is looking. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, like always, chuck it a massive thumbs up, and thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed it again, and I'll see you in the next one.